This is the Nubia Z70S Ultra, and I want to say right away, this smartphone pleasantly surprised me, specifically with its design. In my opinion, it's one of the most beautiful smartphones I've had for review this year. Nubia looks stylish, expensive, and unique. However, the main feature here is the screen, which doesn't have a notch for the front camera. The front-facing camera is hidden under the display, which makes the display look simply gorgeous. But did Nubia manage to make the front camera itself good? We'll definitely be coming back to that question. Hey friends, this video was translated using AI, so the sound quality isn't perfect. If you want to listen to the original sound, just follow the link to our original video in the description. Okay, now let's get back to our review. Overall, Nubia positions the Z70S Ultra as their main photo and video flagship. This is a smartphone that wasn't created for gaming or battery life, but specifically for shooting. It's a device for those who love photography, filming videos, and want to get maximum capability straight out of the box. That's what they say, at least. So, let's see how true all of this is. In what aspects is this device really good, and where it can significantly disappoint you? Let's take a look at its cameras first. Then we'll go over the other specs, and after that, as usual, we'll divide our review into pros and cons. And at the end, of course, we'll sum up the results. Let's start, as promised, with the cameras. And on paper, everything sounds great here. We have a 50-megapixel main camera with a portrait focal length of 35mm and an aperture of f1.7, a 13mm ultra-wide with the same 50 megapixels and an aperture of f2.0, and a telephoto lens with 64 megapixels, 2.7x optical zoom, and an aperture of f2.5. And now, the most controversial thing, 16-megapixel front-facing camera. On this device, it's hidden under the display, with a 24mm focal length and an f2.0 aperture. Now, a bit about the other specifications. The smartphone runs Android 15 with the proprietary Nebula OS. Inside, it features the flagship Snapdragon 8 Elite. The Adreno A30 GPU handles graphics. It has 12 or 16 gigabytes of LPDDR5X RAM and 256 or 512 gigabytes of UFS 4.0 storage. A 6.85-inch AMOLED display, 2688 by 12, 16 pixels, with a refresh rate up to 144 Hz. 6,600 mAh battery with a silicon-carbon anode, which enhances capacity and resistance to low temperatures. Wired charging up to 80 watts, but there's no wireless or reverse charging. The device supports Wi-Fi 7, has Bluetooth version 5.4, and features a USB Type-C port version 3.2. The gadget is protected to the IP69 standard. Alright, we're done with the specs. Let's move on to the pros and cons, friends. And let's begin with the pros. The first plus is the design and ergonomics of the smartphone. Nubia, honestly, did a great job here. The phone is eye-catching in appearance. The body looks and feels premium, and the camera bump looks interesting and fresh. Say hi to phones with a hockey puck on their back. The device itself sits comfortably in the hand, and the buttons are well placed. You can tell the designers thought about this detail. You can, and, most importantly, want to use the Z70S Ultra without a case. It feels very pleasant to the touch. Overall, the smartphone stands out from the crowd. I would even call its design the best among the smartphones I've tested recently, and trust me, there have been quite a few. Next, its software and the availability of a global version. Yes, friends, we've reached a point where a global version is a plus. Many Chinese manufacturers release their flagships only for the domestic market. And now, just the fact that a smartphone has a global version is already a victory. So, for those who don't want any hoops to jump through, this is it. The Z70S Ultra is a full global version. Here, we have everything you need right out of the box. Google Play, seamless NFC payment, no Chinese software to manually delete. All menus are fully translated. Everything works as it should right away. The interface itself is fast, responsive, and without any lag. It has some useful features. For example, the smartphone might suggest connecting the public Wi-Fi if it detects a suitable network. There's also built-in automatic translation during calls. You can speak in your native language, and the other person will hear you in theirs. It works fast and can really come in handy abroad. Don't underestimate this feature. And yes, it's becoming a tradition now, but you know what I'm about to say? Yes, you're right. Language support for this feature is still, unfortunately, pretty limited. Considering that this is a global model, and it offers many languages within the system, let's hope this gets fixed soon. After all, if Samsung added support for more languages within a similar feature over time, why can't Nubia? So, we wait and hope. And another big plus, I would say, is the main camera. The main 35mm lens in this smartphone can pleasantly surprise. In good lighting conditions, photos and videos are genuinely impressive. Detail, color reproduction, and sharpness are on point. In some respects, this lens even outperforms the Vivo X200 Ultra's flagship camera. Yes, that very one. Don't believe it? We, by the way, did a comparison of these two smartphones on our channel. If you haven't watched it yet, the link to the video is waiting for you in the description. Yes, and Nubia's 8K video isn't just for show. The level of detail in this mode is good, but only on the main lens and without zoom, which we'll talk about later. I'd also specifically praise the slow motion recording. There's 4K at 120 FPS and Full HD at 204 FPS. And all of this without strong artifacts, which is rare even in flagships. Yes, the quality does drop in HD at 480 FPS, but it's still not bad for super slow-mo experiments. You can take macro photos with both the ultra-wide and the telephoto lens. And that really does provide room for creativity and more versatility. And in burst mode up to 200 shots, Nubia consistently holds focus and delivers sharp frames. It's great. The instant photos are also very decent on this smartphone. And when I say very decent, I mean that this cute little brick sometimes outperforms the X200 Ultra in this mode. And that says a lot. And continuing with the photo and video, I can't help but credit the creative modes in the camera menu as a distinct advantage. Nubia really let loose here, in a good way. Over 20 creative modes in the camera offer a huge scope for experimentation. And the settings are intuitive and don't require a lot of time to figure out. For those who like to experiment with photos and videos, you're definitely going to have plenty to do. A clean display without any notches? Isn't that a big plus? And with minimal edge rounding to boot. Even Samsung and Sony are gradually moving away from that in their flagships, in favor of modern design. But Nubia is still holding on. Overall, there are no complaints about the display quality either. The camera sensor is great, the color reproduction isn't disappointing either. It's really pleasant to consume content on a screen like this. Yes, the basic peak brightness is lower than its competitors. But with sunlight mode, the screen can output around 900 lux. That's plenty for outdoors. Text and photos remain readable even in bright sunlight. Do you really need more than that? How well this smartphone holds a connection and what internet speed it delivers is also a strong point. Mobile network performance showed stable 145 megabit per second download and 78 megabit per second upload in our tests. That's really solid. Wi-Fi speeds of 820 megabit per second within a gigabit network, which is better than some competitors that cost significantly more. If you frequently upload large files, this will definitely come in handy. The next plus might surprise you, and that's the price. Yes, Nubia always enters the global market with a high price tag, but they quickly lower it. This has been happening with all of their flagships for several years in a row. Their tactic is the same year after year. Overpriced at launch, targeting fans of this brand and enthusiasts, and then the price inevitably drops. And that's already happening. I bought the smartphone for €829 just recently, but right now, the official store is selling the exact same configuration for $600 if you use the discount code listed on their website. I'm not a huge Nubia expert, but tracking the price correlation, the conclusion is pretty obvious. And if you wait a few months from the start of sales, you can get the Z70S Ultra for a much more reasonable price. That's when the smartphone will feel completely different, believe me. Now let's take a look at the negative aspects this smartphone has. Let's move on to the drawbacks, friends. The first and, probably, the main drawback of the Nubia is what immediately catches the eye. Or, rather, something that doesn't catch your eye when you look at this phone's screen. That's right, I'm talking about the front camera. Of course, people who buy this smartphone intentionally know what they're getting, and many don't even use the front camera anyway. But still, the front camera here is a sadness, a pain, and a disappointment. The biggest critical failure. An under-display camera sounds good. It also looks nice. But what did manufacturers do to improve this technology that they've been using for several generations of their smartphones? Yes, the front camera became even less noticeable. They put work into that. But what about the camera itself? Well, there's basically nothing good about it. Basically, we consistently get a blurry, overexposed image, lacking sharpness, and with excessive AI processing. The camera simply can't see you properly through the screen pixels and invents details in photos, sometimes leading to results that are absurdly bad. It can only record video in Full HD at 30 frames per second. That's just laughable for 2025. Nightmare and horror are only amplified in the darkness. What we get in the video isn't a face, but a blurry, shaky spot. The portraits here look downright frightening. Unnatural blur. Play-Doh-looking faces created with algorithms, and severe overexposure. And the front-facing camera's audio recording is awful too. Against a waterfall or in the wind, your voice gets drowned out by noise.
Here we have this incredibly powerful waterfall. This is how mighty it looks. And I hope both smartphones are doing a pretty good job at recording my voice in these challenging conditions.
For blogs, streams, and selfies, this front camera is simply unusable. And it's precisely because of this that, for those who need a front camera, Nubia is definitely not recommended for purchase. Video stabilization is a separate drawback. It's practically non-existent. Stabilization doesn't work at all when walking or running. There's an enhanced mode, but it only slightly improves the situation. Things are particularly bad at the wide angle. The jello effect appears even when walking normally, let alone running. Portrait video and macro video are also weak points here. The smartphone can record portrait videos at a maximum of Full HD 30 FPS, and there's no stabilization whatsoever. The image jumps, the background blur is pathetic, sometimes it smears the foreground, while the background remains sharp. In low light or bright sunlight, the face turns into a yellow, clay-like mess. The mode that's supposed to highlight a person in the frame and draw all the attention to them does the exact opposite. There are also a lot of questions about the macro video. It's implemented through the ultra-wide on the Nubia, so you have to bring the lens right up to the subject, and the result is still quite mediocre. It's strange that in photo mode, the phone can shoot macro on the telephoto lens, but not in video mode. The next drawback is raw photos in low light. Raw nighttime shots turn out very noisy and overexposed. It's almost impossible to pull them out in post-processing. For advanced shooting in low light, the Nubia definitely won't do the trick. Keep that in mind. Switching between lenses in video mode is a whole separate problem and a distinct drawback as a result. The stitching here is rough. The image can even freeze or flicker to a black screen. The white balance jumps noticeably when switching, and you can definitely forget about smooth zoom. In 8K, it looks particularly sad. The telephoto lens simply isn't engaged. Therefore, no switching happens. It all boils down to a simple digital crop. Here's something that might surprise you: performance issues and overheating. Despite a high-end chip in synthetic benchmarks, the Nubia falls behind many smartphones with the same chipset. This tells us about poor implementation, and the fact that the temperature can reach 61 degrees Celsius in stress tests only confirms this. The phone can simply shut down under heavy load. This can become a serious problem in games or during extended video recording. Now, onto things that make absolutely no sense. The logic behind the focal lengths. The focal lengths are listed strangely in the camera menu. For example, 18mm is just a crop from the ultra-wide, because its native focal length is 13mm. The promised 85mm, which is set by default in the camera menu, isn't here either. The telephoto lens actually activates from 70mm. This means that if you rely on the module switching buttons, you'll always get digital crops, unless you're using the main lens. This is a very strange situation, and I absolutely don't understand why Nubia approached these important things this way. Now let's talk about the downsides in the operating system. Screen recording starts with unnecessary steps. It's a minor annoyance, but it's still unpleasant. Also, the smartphone spreads photos and videos into different folders. Portraits, regular shots, time-lapses, and so on. Some people might find it convenient, I understand. But for me, as someone who shoots for views and works with content, it turned into a whole ordeal. After shooting videos, you have to dig into every folder to gather everything in one place. The camera lacks text recognition, so you'll have to launch Google Lens separately. An optical fingerprint scanner is also a significant drawback. Compared to modern ultrasonic and some optical scanners in other smartphones, this one is really taking its time. And for the price Nubia wanted for this smartphone at launch, putting a cheap biometric sensor, which the user interacts with every day, is at least strange. This drawback might surprise you too: the battery. Nubia crammed a huge 600 mAh capacity battery in here, making it with a new technology that uses a silicon carbon anode. It sounds great, but in practice, the smartphone doesn't last as long as you like. At the very least, it really doesn't match the price tag, or rather, the number of amperes. And all of this is due to poor system optimization and a weak implementation of the power-hungry and quite hot flagship chip from Qualcomm. Many smartphones with battery capacities of 5,000 mAh and even 5,000 from other brands last exactly as long as the Z70S Ultra. That is, this smartphone will give you 1 day of battery life, but I wouldn't expect much more than that. And for travel, trips, and active shooting, I'd say that's a critically important component. The next significant downside is the lack of eSIM, even in the global version. It's a strange decision for a smartphone officially released in Europe. The competitors, like Samsung, Xiaomi, Vivo, and Honor, have long made eSIM a standard if a smartphone is released on the global market. Apple in the US has completely abandoned physical SIM cards, supporting eSIM only. Nubia only has 2 physical SIM card slots, which feels like a step backward for the global market. And the last drawback, quite typical for these kinds of devices, is support and updates. You should clearly understand that Nubia isn't about regular updates and gradual, in-depth system refinement. You buy it and, generally, use it as is. Unfortunately, there aren't any major updates or long-term support to be expected here. Yes, the next Android update will come for sure, but what comes after is a big question, as Nubia isn't known for providing long-term support for its smartphones. Nubia Z70S Ultra, a device that might appeal to those who value design, a clean screen without notches, and a basic main camera. It actually is quite good for daytime photos. There's room for creativity and shooting in different modes. The battery isn't spectacular, but it's adequate, and the network quality, Wi-Fi speed, and global availability are a plus. But if you plan on seriously shooting video on the go, rely on the front camera, and want a stable flagship without overheating, then we have a colorful wrapper with not a very tasty candy inside. You can hope that something can be fixed with updates, but I wouldn't bet on it. If you like the design and want the maximum screen size, if you're generally happy with just the main camera, and if you're willing to wait for the price to drop even lower, the Nubia Z70S Ultra could be a pretty cool option for you. But at launch, and for the price the smartphone used to have, there are really too many compromises here that not everyone will be able to accept. What do you think, friends? How do you like our phone of today? Can it become your next daily driver, or is it not for you? Share your opinion in the comments. I'm genuinely interested in reading them. And as usual, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like this video, turn on the notification bell, and see you in the next review. Bye-bye, everyone.